All right. Good. Whoops. Hold on. Let me fix this. What are we doing, Jerry? Good morning, everybody. It is, what day is it? It's Monday, April 25th. Welcome to First Things First, Simply Cyber's daily morning cybersecurity threat briefing. I'm your host, Gerald Auger, and over the next 30 minutes, I'll be delivering the top cybersecurity news of the day and providing expert analysis on each of these stories. What it means to you as a practitioner, or if you're looking to break into the industry, definitely value coming your way. Shout out and thanks to this stream sponsor, Barricade Cyber Solutions. Cyber criminals have stolen your company's data and derailed your business operations? Don't worry, Barricade Cyber Solutions will help you resolve this ransomware attack and get your business back on track. Keep them on speed dial, people. I want to remind you, if you hold a professional certification that requires CPEs, each episode of First Things First is worth half a CPE. So make sure you're documenting that because it adds up real quick, guys. 2.5 a week, 10 a month, 60 a half year. I guess 120 a year and 1,200 a decade. So I think all in all, you're going to be good to go when it comes to CPEs. If you're live, I see you guys queuing up in chat with 51 of us already. Love it. Thank you for being here. Happy Monday. I got the tall cup out because I need it today. If you're watching on replay, thanks for catching the stream. I always appreciate it that you're catching it whenever you can. Be sure to comment. Drop a comment. It's like saying here or signing your name to the register or whatever. So if your CPEs ever get audited, you can be like, boom, now what, people? If you want to jump right to the stories, then when that ticker right next to my face gets down to 0, we're going to get started. But for the next 2 minutes, 1 minute and 58 seconds, I'm going to be welcoming folks into chat. What's up, everybody? So I'm trying to, a couple new things, right? Hey, what's up, Dennis Hunter from Greensboro? Ryan, I see you. Hey, Junior, thanks for the sub. Appreciate that. See if I can do this sound effect without crashing my entire system here. Yes, the audio gods are with us today, people. So listen, guys, I got big news. I ordered this thing this weekend. Thanks, Base. See this guy? This whole thing is designed to remove my audio and sound effects into a piece of hardware so I don't have to deal with all the nonsense anymore. Hey, Cornells. Good greetings from Cayman. I love it. Lancy, good to see you. Hey, Lancy, it's been a minute. Mubarez, it's good to see you. Anyways, guys, once I get the correct cables, we are going to take our sound effects game to the next level, and you'll just be OG if you remember when I used to have audio problems. What's up, Greenville? I love Greenville, South Carolina. It's a cool city. Asha, good to see you. Matthew Voles, good morning. Thomas from Africa. Hey, Thomas, good to see you. Gotta get this coffee going. Yeah, so Asha and everybody, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I messed around. I've changed the layout a little bit. I got the streaming ticker on the bottom. I've got so when I'm gonna flip out or punch in, I've got like a slightly different look, and then I'll go back to this. I'm trying to optimize and minimize the amount of things going on to kind of reduce the amount of issues that I've been having. So these things happen. Hey, David from London, good to see you. Christopher Word, always good to see you. Melbourne, Australia. Guys, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 continents right now. 4 continents represented. If there is anybody in chat coming from Asia right now, we could hit 5 continents. That would be sick. Obviously, in South America, we could get 6. And then, Antarctica is going to be a toss-up here. I do need a producer. Thanks, Canada. All right, guys. As much as I would love to hang out and have a cup of coffee with you guys are the energy I need this morning. This is great. Hey, Karen, good to see you. It is that time of day for us to dig in. Hey, Jeff from DC. India, we've got Asia. Awesome people. I'm going to go back and check. If anyone is in South America right now, let me know. If someone pops into chat while I'm flipping out on the news and they're from South America, let me know. This is cool. We can hit every continent in one stream. So if you guys want to play along, we go to cisoseries.com. David Spark and his group, they put together this daily podcast, which allows us to piggyback and get massive value from it. So Go there for yourself or sit back, relax, and listen to the soothing tones of my voice as we get into the news.
Cybersecurity headlines.
It's Monday, April 25th, 2022. Hackers find 122 vulnerabilities, 27 deemed critical, during the first round of DHS bug bounty program. These vulnerabilities were found by more than 450 security researchers who were working through the Department of Homeland Security's Hack the DHS bug bounty program, which started in December 2021. The researchers, who were vetted by the agency before participating, were eligible to receive between $500 and $5,000 for verified vulnerabilities, depending on the severity. The DHS has not disclosed the vulnerabilities that were found, nor did it share any information about the fixes or the bugs. The agency would verify the flaws within 48 hours of being notified and fix them within 15 days, or, for more complex bugs, develop a plan to address them.
All right. So this is not anything new. It may not be Hack DHS. It may have been Hack the Pentagon before, but like the idea that the federal government is engaging the security researcher community and pen tester, ethical hacking, whatever you want to call it, community to basically kind of crowdsource finding bugs, finding vulnerabilities is awesome. And it's like I said, it's been around for a little bit, right? There's also the Air Force has hacked the satellites. Okay, so really quick, Jen Easterly did not introduce this, but she is coordinating and help drive this. And this is something that is such like when you're talking about kind of Jen Easterly and her impact on CISA and like the whole vibe of like what she's bringing and the people like her are bringing, this is a perfect example. Like the federal government would have to like bid out and do contracts in a 3-year cycle. And then, Booz Allen would win it. And maybe they put the right people on it. With this, they can find vulnerabilities and get them fixed very, very quickly in a very short amount of time. And mind you, as a good steward of finances, it's way cheaper than a multi-year contract, right? They awarded $125,600 total. Dude, that is a drop in the bucket when it comes to federal government contracts. That's like one FTE or like one half of FTE, full-time employee for a government contract. So super fast and speedy, super cheap and affordable, super high value. Why wouldn't they do this? Now, the one thing that is worth noting, and it's very valuable, is that only 450 researchers were connected to this program, and they were all vetted beforehand, which makes total sense, right, guys? Because they're not going to just open it up, because threat actors and adversaries would take it as an opportunity, I guarantee you, to hide in the noise of attacking DHS. Department of Homeland Security is freaking huge. So I'm wondering if they focused it on one bureau inside the DHS or how they did it. But long story short, this is awesome. And more of this needs to happen at the federal government level.
Anonymous has leaked 5.8 terabytes of Russian data since declaring cyber war. The group has released hundreds of thousands of emails from high-profile Russian organizations in the energy, property management, and financial management sectors, some of which have numerous high-profile Western companies as clients. The Twitter account Anonymous TV states there is more to come. AWS's Log4j.
All right, that was a quick, short story. I guess the key takeaway here is that Anonymous is continuing Op Russia, where they're basically, fighting on behalf of Ukraine, and they're disclosing a lot of Russian data. 5.8 terabytes of data is a lot of data, guys, right? Like text files are not large file formats, right? Graphics are usually huge file formats, and there might be some graphics in here, but 5.8 terabytes is massive. So they are consistent, they are vigilant, and they are effective. So, I guess you could just dig in here if you wanted and look at what kind of data that they have released, but just know that Anonymous is being very effective. I'm not going to dig into any of this stuff. I don't speak Russian. I don't read Russian. So I'm not even sure there would be any value in actually digging into the files personally. But it's not good. I also read somewhere or heard that Anonymous had successfully taken over like Russian federal CCTV, like closed circuit cameras inside of federal buildings and facilities. So I don't know the scope of that or the efficacy of that, but they're definitely doing all sorts of stuff across different areas of attacking Russia. So again, very effective.
Patches blew holes in its own security. Amazon Web Services has updated its Log4j security patches after it was discovered the original fixes made customer deployments vulnerable to container escape and privilege escalation. These vulnerabilities, introduced by Amazon's Log4j hot patch, CVE 2021-3100 and 3101, and CVE 2022-070 and 071, are all high-severity bugs rated 8.8 out of 10 on the CVSS. In a security bulletin on Tuesday, Amazon said, quote, "We recommend that customers who run Java applications in containers and use either the hot patch or hot dog update to the latest versions of the software immediately." End quote. At last.
Okay, so here is a funny story, but this is something to keep in mind because this does happen. And again, anyone with gray in their hair is going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so Log4j, right? The big vulnerability that came out in December of 2021. People lost their mind. AWS has a bunch of services, so they released some patches for it, right? Now, here's the interesting thing. The patch itself introduced new vulnerabilities. This does happen from time to time. Now, here is where the gray beards or the gray hairs would be like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Right here, Amazon released emergency hot fixes to close the Log4j remote code execution. Anytime you see emergency hotfix, know that it's an emergency, which means it bypassed certain levels of testing, validation, all these other things. Emergency typically means cut the line, cut the whole process, and go directly to prod, go to market, whatever you want to call it. When you do hot fixes this way, bad things can happen just like this. The whole reason that we have change control, the whole reason that we do validation and testing is to prevent things like this from happening. And sometimes it's like you got to weigh, is it worth the time to test it properly versus the risk of being exposed? Because there's a chance that there is no problem with the hotfix, but if you're not patching it, then there's definitely a chance that the vulnerability that the hotfix is fixing is going to get broken or exploited. So anyways, long story short, anytime you see emergency hotfix, you should, follow the guidance of the vendor, but be mindful that emergency hotfixes can oftentimes have issues. This is not the first time. This won't be the last time. Trust me. I'm sure Chad will probably have some stories in here. I'll go back and look later, but emergency hotfixes are notorious. Also, be mindful of pushing a prod on Friday afternoon. That's another lesson learned.
Addresses a critical Jira authentication bypass flaw. The vulnerability in its Jira Serif software is tracked as CVE 2022-0540 with a CVSS score of 9.9 and can be exploited by an unauthenticated attacker to bypass authentication. A threat actor could trigger the vulnerability by sending a specially crafted HTTP request to vulnerable software. The issue affects a range of Atlassian Jira Server and Data Center versions before 8.13 and between 8.14 and 8.20, and versions between 8.21 and 8.22. Full details of this are available in the security advisory published on the Atlassian site.
Yeah, so if you're running Jira Server, and guys, I'm not a Jira expert. I've never used Jira. I know enough about what it is. It's like a ticketing management system, as far as I know. You can go to Atlassian support site and get this thing. This is a nasty bit of bug, though, right? It's got a high CVE score. It's remote code, non-authenticated, which is the worst, right? That's what you don't want. And it does say Jira Cloud's not affected. Jira Server Management Cloud is not affected. So it's really only Jira and Jira Service Management that are vulnerable. So if you're running those, definitely investigate getting this fixed. And this is one of those ones where, like, this is not InfoSec. But if you're like a web, if you're a dev shop, if you're a big tech company, if you're a company that has developers or engineers or R&D, they may be using Jira. And this is where inventory comes in. Oh, that's so boring, inventory. Yeah. Well, guess what? I don't want to say anything personal, but like, trust me, it is helpful to know if Jira is in your environment for reasons like this. Because if it's a threat actor, yeah, exactly, Nick. If a threat actor gets into your Jira server, a couple things are going to go on here. Let me punch out here. Let me punch out. A couple things are going to happen here. First of all, they're going to have access to one of your assets, right? And if it's an on-prem asset, then they can move laterally and root around from there. Also, they can dump creds. But more importantly, think about what is in the tickets of the Jira server, who's working them, what the bugs are, how to reproduce the bug, right? How bad is the bug, right? This is rich content for a threat actor because you're basically, it's a catalog of all the problems with your softwares, right? So you definitely don't want that for multiple reasons. So patch your Jira.
And web applications. You can learn more at www.
Let me know in chat too, this new layout, this new punch and all these things. If anyone has any thoughts, be curious.
Cyber attack causes chaos in Costa Rica government systems. Nearly a week into a ransomware attack that has crippled Costa Rican government computer systems, the country has refused to pay a ransom as it struggles to implement workarounds. The Russian-speaking Conti gang has claimed responsibility for the attack, but the Costa Rican government has not confirmed its origin. The attack has affected the country's finance and labor ministries, among others, shutting down services such as paying public employees and delivering government pension payments, and forcing the government to grant extensions for tax payments. Conti has not published a specific ransom amount, but Costa Rica President Carlos Alvarado said, quote, "The Costa Rican state will not pay anything to these cyber criminals." End.
Okay. Couple things. One, production note, if the audio of the podcast starts off low and gets high, I've had a couple people mention to me, complain to me, whatever. I'm not sure. It plays at the right volume for me the whole time, so it's very difficult for me to reproduce the error. But guys, this show's organic, right? We're constantly trying to improve it little by little, 1% a day. So I'll look into that after I get my sound effects and all that sorted out. Okay, now, a couple things. Conti gang, basically ransomware Costa Rica. I'm going to contact Costa Rica and see if they need me to come on site to help them. I would love to go to Costa Rica right now. That would be dope. But they're probably not going to employ my services, so that's fine. But it's nothing. This, like, with all due respect, this is like, my heart goes out to Costa Rica, but this is kind of a nothing story, right? Conti gang, they do all sorts of ransomwaring. They are very effective. It's surprising that Conti is actively attacking Costa Rica right now, considering Conti gang is the ransomware threat actor group that publicly came out in support of Russia, and they have members of their gang that are Ukrainian. So then Ukraine side of it released a bunch of papers, and now like they are having inner turmoil. So, I'm surprised that they're still operating, right? I guess it's like a dysfunctional sports team where, like, they can still play a game, but they're dysfunctional in the locker room. So that's what's going on. As a quick aside, I was going to tease this at the end, but it's worth mentioning. This Thursday, Dave Klein's coming on for Simply Cyber Live, the 4:30 p.m. live guest interview, and we're talking about Conti ransomware gang. We're looking at the TTPs. We're analyzing their behavior. So if you're actually interested in understanding how this cyber attack worked and how this threat actor group operates, like, in a technical detail way, join us for that. Interesting timing. Thanks, Conti, for making it relevant.
U.S. government grants academics $12 million to develop cyber attack defense tools for the energy sector. The funding is coming from the U.S. Department of Energy and is earmarked to go to 6 university teams to develop defense and mitigation tools to protect U.S. energy delivery systems from cyber attacks. The goal is to focus on detecting, blocking, and mitigating attempts to compromise crucial controls within the U.S. power grid. The universities involved are Florida International University, Iowa State, New York University, Texas A&M Engineering Experiment Station, University of Illinois at Chicago, and the Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University. Emote.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So $12 million doesn't sound like that much. I saw this story last week and I was like, oh, that's interesting because I was really into industrial control system stuff last week. And I saw this and I was like, $12 million from the Department of Energy. That's interesting. But alas, I will say that it's very cool that they're funding higher ed. These grad students, I'm sure, are doing some really interesting research. You know, many of you know that I am a huge advocate of higher education. I know in the cybersecurity space, as a practitioner, you don't necessarily need a degree in order to have a successful career. I am interested in higher education because of the way that they're able to focus on research, push boundaries, try interesting novel techniques and stuff like that. So this $12 million, there's 6 schools, so figure $2 million a school. You know, if you break it out, it sounds like a lot of money, but $2 million isn't a terrible amount of money. It's probably like a year or 2-year funded project for maybe 4 grad students, a little bit of materials. But what's important to note here is the results of this research will not really come out until 2024, 2025, but they're funded to do very specific things, right? FIU is doing AI-based detection, right? It's the, single pane of glass. It's the 2022 version of that, right? Where AI is going to help doing SecOps work. Iowa State's doing defense in depth, tracking real-time anomalies. So you can see here, I'm not going to go through all of them, but they're all given a very specific focus and niche. And I wouldn't be surprised if that niche and focus aligns to a research area within that university. So a lot of universities will, like, for example, Texas A&M, they have a cybersecurity learning gamification research lab, right? So they do all sorts of learning around they do all sorts of research on how people can learn to do cybersecurity using games and what's the efficacy of that. And again, academic research is usually very rigorous. There's very structure elements to it in order to ensure that it can be repeatable, to make sure that your findings are actually valid and real, et cetera, et cetera. So anyways, whatever. Way to go, higher ed.
Reestablishes itself at the top of the malware world.
Emote.
Just about a month ago, we reported on a Cisco blog announcing the return of Emote. Checkpoint researchers now list it as the most widely deployed malware, menacing or infecting as much as 10% of organizations around the globe in March, apparently double that of February. Now, Kaspersky Labs says a rapidly accelerating and complex spam email campaign is enticing people with fraudulent messages designed to trick them into unpacking and installing Emote or Qbot malware that can steal information, collect data on compromised corporate networks, and move laterally through the network and install ransomware or other Trojans on networked devices. Beanstalk.
Okay. Emote is no joke, guys. I was wondering if there would be like a picture or a sample of the actual email. All right, here's the deal. Emote, if you don't know what Emote is, get familiar with it, Google it, check it out. Emote it's a piece of malware. It can be used as like an initial infection point. It's very versatile. It's very effective. Once it runs, it'll typically be paired with some other kind of post-exploitation payload. So it'll reach out and grab something. Famously, it was Emotet TrickBot Ryuk ransomware. That triumvirate, if you will, was really popular around 2020, 2021. Maybe it was like 2018, 2019. Anyways, long story short, Emotet's no joke. And maybe a year ago, we thought that there was like a massive multi-country organized campaign to arrest and eliminate Emotet. And they brought down a lot of the infrastructure. But I'm telling you, Emotet is like a wart. Like, it's very good and it's very difficult to remove completely. So I'm not surprised that it's back. What is stunning is that it's in 10% of all organizations. That seems very high if you think about how many organizations there are. And it says it's spreading through email. Again, I'd be curious what email is getting through with that level of success, where Microsoft Exchange Online Protection can't catch it, Checkpoint, Proofpoint, all the email gateways, Mimecast, like how are they not catching this? If it's hold on, I'm going to flip out here. Listen, if it's 10% of all organizations, that is massively high. So they should have a very good corpus of what these emails look like and where they're coming from or whatever. Now, that's not exactly the easiest way to track it, but my point is at some point you should be able to say like, okay, look at this is how Emotet's being spread. Let's stop that spread, right? So anyways, you do not want this in your organization. What I would tell you is a couple things. One, if you do have a email gateway, make sure it's configured to help protect from this, or talk to the vendor about what they're doing around Emotet infections. Again, I'm not 100% sure if the malware is actually baked into the email, like a macro virus. I don't think so. My guess would be it would be a hyperlink that would take you to a page or a Google Drive or something that would pull down the malware, because it's way easier to circumvent mail gateways by having the end user download the malware versus trying to push the malware into the email. But find out that, then confirm that your EDR solution, your endpoint detection and response solution, is looking for Emotet's TTPs. So when they fire, you catch it and quarantine it and stop it. Also, you may want to look for C2 infrastructure if you're not doing kind of like, DNS cleanup, like Umbrella DNS or something like that, or Cloud9, where when you reach out, I just told you, you click on the link, you reach out and you download that Emotet malware, you can have it check against a list of known malicious sites and then prevent the end user from successfully communicating with that server. So there is a bevy of defense in depth options that we can take advantage of here. But just know, Emotet's no joke, and it's massively spreading right now. It's like it's too early to make an STD joke, so I won't do that. This thing is spreading like wildfire. I guess I'll just leave it at that. All right. So no one wants Emotet except Emotet.
DeFi project robbed of $182 million in flash loan attack. On April 19th, Beanstalk, a credit-based stablecoin protocol project based on Ethereum, said the platform was subject to a flash loan attack 2 days previously. This happened after an unknown threat actor secured the project voting rights necessary to transfer reserve funds away from the project's liquidity pools. Flash loan functions in DeFi, that's decentralized finance projects, allow users to borrow large amounts of virtual funds for a short period of time. In Beanstalk Farm's case, voting powers were based on the amount of tokens held. Researchers at Omnitia said that after the attacker secured a flash loan, and therefore extensive voting rights normally used to accept or decline changes in the protocol's code, an emergency government mechanism was abused to vote for a malicious proposal and allow themselves to send funds to a wallet they controlled.
Okay, listen to me, people. I tried to play my Randy Moss straight cash homie. It didn't work. Again, audio problems. Guys, here's the deal. This is really interesting. Now, a couple things here. One, this says robbed. Now, the attacker actually didn't exploit. I mean, listen. Okay, hold on. Let me do a punch in, because this is great. This is brilliant. Listen. When we look for vulnerabilities, right, as researchers or as practitioners, sometimes the vulnerability is a technical 0 day. Like, oh, I can type in something in this field that it's not expected to take, like fuzzing, and have it exploit or have it render something to the screen, like a SQL injection attack. And sometimes you just look at the processes and identify where there are gaps, right? So like, physical penetration, where you're walking in, you carry a ladder with you and you can walk right past the secretary, right? This falls into that category. So basically what this individual did, and it's brilliant, is the way it works is your voting rights are based on how much money you have essentially on this platform. And they took a loan out really quickly to get this massive majority voting right capability. Then they put in for a vote on whether or not to give themselves $182 million. And because they controlled the vote, they voted approved. Brilliant, right? I don't know. Like, again, it's not, I mean, it's fraud-ish, but it's clever and it's novel. You really got to think through when you're coming up with these like clever ideas. You really need to think through what way can they be abused, and what are the checks and balances to prevent the abuse, right? But anyways, the attacker got away with $80 million, and then there were fees required, but who cares, right? Like, it's straight cash, homie. Yeah. Anyways, Beanstalk offered the attacker 10% of the stolen funds as a bug bounty. Look at that. Beanstalk offered the person who got away with $80 million that they can keep $8 million scot-free if they please return the $72 million. Very interesting. What would you do? What would you do? Would you just keep the 80 million and maybe be a criminal? Or would you give it back and write a book? Maybe become a celebrity and have $8 million to boot. Like I said, I don't know how much this is actually illegal versus them just abusing the process that's been put in place. Honestly, I don't think it's right, but I don't think it's illegal either. That's just my take on it.
Friday marks the return of Super Cyber.
All right. So that's going to do it for this week's First Things First. Reminder, guys, this Thursday, I mentioned it earlier in the news briefing, Conti ransomware gang analysis this Thursday. Dave Klein's been on the show before. Smart guy. He's been in the industry a long time. We're going to be talking about tricks of the trade, TTPs for Conti ransomware. I'm going to do some research on Krebs's synopsis of the Conti papers, that their internal communications that got out, to kind of help inform me for this particular live stream. But this will be more of a technical live stream. So if you're interested in kind of the technical background on how Conti executes, we have some visibility into that. So that's what we'll be talking about. All right, guys, this does it for Monday, April 25th. Again, I'll go back and look at chat, but let me know if you like the new layout and stuff like that. I've been trying to play with it. I'm trying to make this good. Like I said, I've got this new, I'm super excited about this new audio thing. Like, each one of these pads, this is going to be straight cash on me. This is going to be spicy, toasty, crypto evangelist. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. It's just going to be hot pads where I just slap them, and we don't have audio issues, guys. All right. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good one. Reminder, we are at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time till further notice, basically until August when school starts up again. So tomorrow, Tuesday, April 26th, will be at 8 a.m. I hope to see you there. Thanks, everybody. If you got a moment, hit the thumbs up. It helps people find it. Obviously, if you share it on your socials, I'd prefer that, because I want everybody to be able to take this. I hope someone from South America chimed in chat, because it would have been awesome to get every single continent except Antarctica on stream today. Y'all be good. We'll see you tomorrow.